A warm greeting from Student Christian Movement of India. Now I request Shashikant to take over.
Hello, Jharkhandi Johar to everyone. I hope you all are doing well and cybercrime. So now I will introduce, invite Miss Megha from Wood Region. So he will welcome the gathering.
Very good evening to one and all present here. For those students who is new to SCMI, I would like to give a brief introduction about SCMI. Student Christian Movement is the first movement for university students in India. It is primarily a fellowship of students. Its membership is open to all university students who subscribe to the aims and basis of the movement. Students of any faith, no faith, young women and men from all denominations, and non-students as well. It derives its inspiration from the Bible and seeks to participate in God's mission of justice for all, working towards unity and peace across diversity. SCMI soldiers the responsibility of preparing students and youth for their participation in the building of the nation, recognizing that the participation of the fruits of development has thus far been uneven and unjust. Now, going into the topic for this day, cybercrime is among the most underreported offenses. While cybercrime is increasing in scale, we see a various types of attacks, number of victims, and economic damage in the family, community, and in the country as whole. Therefore, it is very important for us to be aware about cybercrimes and play our role as young women and men to remove this awful act from our society. Now, it is an honor for me and privilege for me to welcome you all on behalf of Student Christian Movement of India. I would like to welcome our honorable speaker, Mr. Robinson D'Souza, and Reverend Imbara Jayakumar, the General Secretary of SCMI, and all the national and regional staffs and senior friends of SCMI. I also take immense pleasure to welcome all the students participants who enroll with our joint venture title as Introduction to Cybercrime Zoom meeting. So I once again welcome everyone to this Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Megha, for the welcoming the gathering. Now I would like to the General Secretary of SMI, Reverend Imbara Jayakumar, for the introduction of the theme. Sir, are you?
Yes. Friends, good afternoon. Happy that Orissa, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka region is jointly organizing this program online about the cyber crime, introduction to the cyber crime. As we have started internet and also the devices, that is computers, mobiles, smartphones, very, maybe before 10 years, the usage was very less, but now it has become a part of our life. And, one can survive even without food, but without a network, without a smartphone, now it is difficult for young people to, to even spend few minutes alone without these gadgets. We all know that when technology improves, on the other side, crimes also increases. So the web-based or the network-based crimes are on the rise every time. We ourselves, each and every person must have encountered this in our lives many times. Maybe sometimes your computer, your passwords were hacked, or your accounts, your email accounts were hacked, and sometimes you get you get your computer suddenly going down. So there are many, and also when we say cybercrime, there is also many varieties, email, through internet, theft of financial or tempting financial. We always receive a message saying that someone wants to donate crores and crores of money in your account, like that emails. And also use of technology or this internet to victimize others, especially women each and every day are being exploited by men, using the internet and computers or the mobile phones. Anyway, since this is the introductory program, I don't want to talk more. I hope the resource person will give a good orientation. Maybe these regions will continue to take this topic specifically. Today we'll have anyways introduction, but we can have a we can in the future we can have a focused theme on the cyber crime, how, and also maybe how we can use the tools which is provided by the state mechanism, try cybercrime cell and all those things, that how we can also file a complaint and all those things. Practical tips that also we can continue. But I stop here and also join with you to listen to the resource person about today's theme. Thank you once again, and I appreciate for organizing this program. And there are today many participants are there, about 86 participants. I hope this program, this online program, will help us to understand about the cybercrime and strengthen our understanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Reverend Imbaraj Jayakumar, for the introduction of the theme. Now I would like to invite Mr. Binu from Karnataka region, Program Secretary of the Karnataka region. He will introduce our today's resource person.
Thank you, Shashikant. So, welcome all of you for this today's program. Special thanks to Mr. Robinson D'Souza for accepting our invite. So, Robinson D'Souza is a founder of Cyber Sapiens United LLP, an expert in cyber security and cyber law, a well-known speaker and a trainer who has trained around 15,000 people so far. Robinson has graduated his Masters in Information Security Management System. He has 4+ years of work experience and has worked with Infosys as an information security engineer and with KPMG as a risk advisor. Later, he started working as a freelance consultant and has conducted awareness sessions in various parts of the state. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to speaker. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Binu. Hello, everyone. Good evening. So let's get started with the session. Let me share my screen. Binu, let me know if it is visible or not. Yeah, so is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So cyber crime, as we are saying here, one minute. Okay, so cyber. Let's get started with this thing, with this word called as cyber. What is cyber? Cyber is basically a characteristic of computers or combination of laptops and everything, like laptop, mobile, tab, and network. All this technology that we're talking is comes under the term cyber. And nowadays, with the increase of IoT, Internet of Things, the scope of cyber has become more broader. Okay, like we have smart fridge, smart TV, we have smart AC, and everything is smart, right? So with the use of more and more IoT devices, the cyber has becoming more broader. So cyber simply means everything related to the technology. That's what cyber is. Now talking about the cyber, as you can see in the image, and as a respected sir said that we have been using cyber a lot. So definitely that's the fact. Um the first thing that you do when you wake up is unlock your phone. The last thing that you do before you sleep is lock your phone. And between this, our life has become a sandwich, right? Without phone we cannot live. And we need to have our phone with us. And otherwise people might go mad. And it has affected. There are a lot of cases where students and all have been in fact affected mentally, without having their smartphone and all. So let's we have been using smartphone for a lot of reasons. Students use it for studying purpose, research purpose, entertainment purpose, for making friends, for getting their updated with the technology, use Instagram, Facebook, go live, watch videos, and lot of things we do, right? So cyber is been used for a lot of things by us. And there are many outcomes of cyber, one of which is something called as cyber warfare. Now cyber warfare means where world countries are fighting with each other on the cyber platform. Okay, and this has already happened. Countries are fighting with each other. Before it was the missiles and all that were used, but now countries are using the cyberspace, like they are using the server systems to perform an attack. And this has already happened, and it's already happening. One example which I would like to give is something called as Stuxnet. It's basically called as the first cyber weapon. It's basically a small malware. I'll not touch up more on this. You can, if you're interested, you can further do research on this Stuxnet malware. It was uncovered in 2010 in the Iran nuclear power plant. So it was said that US performed this attack on Iran. I don't say this, it's the internet, Google, which says so. Because countries do not want other countries to become popular, right? So that's about one of the example which has already began in 2010. Recently we have been seeing India has banned the Chinese application. The reason is that India wants to safeguard itself from the Chinese country. China, as they have been creating a lot of issues. They have wasted our 2020 completely, right? So we have to be very much safe from them. They have already banned, Facebook, Gmail. These applications do not run in China, right? So they have already banned, and they have their own. So we people in India, we have been using Chinese applications a lot. So we will see why it is banned, and what happens with banning things, and what will happen if we use the Chinese application. We will see in that slide. So this is about cyber warfare, which cyber has been used for. Another thing which the cyber has given rise to is something called as cyber crime. Okay, now talking about the cyber crime, this is what the main concern why we are having this session. It is very much required to understand, and it has become more popular. And every person who is using the internet, who is using the mobile phone, can become a victim of the cyber crime. Okay, so talking about the cyber crime, for every 10 minutes a cyber crime happens in India. Okay, for every 10 minutes, if we can see, the cyber crime happens in India. But the reported cyber crimes is very less, but the occurrence is more than this also. This is at an average. Okay, so there are 48 lakh 90,000 youths who have committed suicide due to the internet, which are of the age 13 to 17. Yes, then there are more than a crore females who have been blackmailed via the social media profiles. Especially the women and the girls who are there, they are most vulnerable in this. So they have to be very careful. Okay, then there are like 97% of the people have done or have posted something wrong or risky on the internet. Okay, 97%. I think I should be using 100% because we are not using the technology in the right way. And talking about the technology, or talking about the internet, talking about cyber, it's all the same. Okay, they are not different. Just the words are different, but the at the end the meaning is the same. So bad news for you. Bad news is that you are not safe online. Internet is not safe. There are criminals, there are hackers, there are bad users. Bad users could be your friend. Okay, it could be your friend who wants to defame you, or he want to for some reasons he want to cause some problem to you. He is called as bad user. Not required that he is a hacker or he should have the knowledge of the hacking or cyber thing and all. Basic users also can put other people in problem, can cause harm to other people. So we will look at that, and the other thing is loopholes or vulnerabilities. Let's not see focus on this, we will keep this aside, but remember the word loophole or vulnerability. I'll cover that in the next slide. Okay, but along with the bad news, there's also a good news from me, and the good news is that you can be safe. Yes, you can be safe. To be safe, you have to be smart on the internet. We all use smartphone, right? But the fact is that we are not smart as a smartphone. We can't be as smart as a smartphone as well, right? But there are some things which you have to know, which you need to follow while you are using the internet. So please keep your ears open. Please concentrate on what I'm gonna talk here, what I'm gonna discuss. Trust me, it's gonna help you for your lifetime. Okay, if you listen carefully, if you follow what I'm gonna say here, you could be safe from becoming a cyber victim, or else you too can become a cyber victim. So let's get started. The first thing that I would like to discuss is social media. Why social media? Because most of you present here are youth, and youth, as a youth, we are more active on social media. We are not active with our in our family. We are not active in our with our parents. We are not active with our brothers, sisters, but we are more active on the social media, like Facebook, Instagram. Facebook, I don't think much people might be using now. People have got shifted from Facebook to Instagram. Earlier, before Facebook, there were other social media platforms as well. Now there is the Facebook is there, but slowly we are seeing more youth are not on Facebook; they are on Instagram. There might be some other thing coming up after Instagram as well. So talking about the social media, social media includes everything. As I said, 1 in 5 online adults report being a victim of cyber crime. Yes, 1 in 5 online adults, it could be it's for women and for men as well, report being a victim of cybercrime. The ratio is more, but it is just an average. The average, if you see, because people don't report. Okay, if there might be many people here in the participants who have been a victim of cybercrime in some or the other way. Okay, you might not be knowing it. So we'll see. And a man was arrested for sharing obscene image of minor in Facebook. This happened in February 7 to 2020. Okay, then we have kidnappers sent Facebook message for ransom. In Kanpur, a boy was kidnapped, and the kidnappers sent the message to the parents on the Facebook platform. So there are a lot of things that are happening. Just to example which I wanted to show you here. So what's happening with social media is that there are different types of crimes and different types of attacks, we can say, that are happening in the social media. So the first thing which I would like to discuss is something called as cyberbullying. Cyberbullying has become very common. Okay, it is somewhat which is similar to ragging. As you know, ragging is a very serious offense. Same way, cyberbullying is a very serious offense. And what cyberbullying is? Cyberbullying is something like teasing someone, okay, making fun of someone on the social media platform, and many other things. Okay, so let's take on some of the examples of cyberbullying. If you have become if you have faced something like this, then you have become a victim of cyberbullying, and this is very common which we face. The first one, threatening someone. Okay, threatening someone, it has become very common among the, especially among the girls, where guys start messaging you, hey sexo, send me your nude pic, hey baby, send me a kiss, or something like that. You know, a lot of such posts you people get. That's a cyberbullying. The next one is recording embarrassing moments of others and then posting the clip and or commenting about the clip. Okay, recording photos and videos have become very common. Every kid nowadays have a photo, sorry, have a smartphone. So you see something is happening and you click a video or you click a photo and you share it outside. It's a very serious crime. We will also be talking about the crime part of it in the next slides. So there is teasing through Facebook or other social networking websites. Okay, teasing someone by their father's name, by their any other based on their maybe culture, community, or anything. Sending negative text messages, sending message saying that you are some, the words which are used, any of the negative words which are used, it's basically an example of cyberbullying. Then we have posting embarrassing photo. Okay, posting embarrassing photo. So a lot of females photos have been used from the social media. They are downloaded, their face is cropped with a nude image of a woman, and then they are being threatened, they are being blackmailed. Okay, this has become very most common. So that is an act of cyberbullying. Then we have spreading rumors about your college, about your faculty, about your principal, about your neighbor, about your friend or anyone. These are some of the examples of cyberbullying. So if you have faced any one of this, then yes, you have become a victim of cybercrime. And there are ways how you can protect it also. We will be talking about the do's and don'ts also side by side, as and when I give you the examples here. And if you are doing anything of among this, then you should be stopping it, because there is a crime, because it is a crime first of all, and there are sections which will be implied for you. We'll be discussing about the sections as well. So cyberbullying can also happen by your own mistake as well. So don't before you post something, be very careful, because nowadays the concept of memes, a lot of memes are happening, and people are gaining popularity by creating memes, making fun of others. It's basically a crime. Somewhere or the other, we have to be very responsible. We have to post something which is sensible, which is logical. Okay, if you post something which others something, then others might use it, and they might make fun of you on the platform, which is called as memes nowadays. It's also a crime. So we also have to be very careful. Another type of crime, what we call as a cyber harassment. Cyber harassment is something which is similar, where someone is torturing you, someone is sending you messages continuously, uh, uh, with any flooding messages. It could be negative messages, abusive messages, it could be anything. Someone is trying to blackmail you, or a lot of things, stalking you, someone is stalking you. So these are the things which comes under the cyber harassment, and cyber harassment is again a crime to be considered. The next topic which I would like to discuss is online dating. Very interesting topic, topic, and very very common thing which everyone, all of us are doing now, especially during the COVID, when the lockdown happened. You couldn't meet your girlfriends, you couldn't meet your boyfriends, you couldn't make new girlfriends, you couldn't make new boyfriends. So the only platform what you had is the online. You had the internet with you, you had the mobile phone with you, and these platforms are used for dating, used for building relationship. Not a bad thing, I'm not denying it, but you have to be very careful while you are on the especially on the dating, online dating platforms. Okay, you have to be very careful. I'm not saying not to use it. Using it is your choice, because we can't stop anyone from using it, but we can help you if you want to use, how you can use it. You have to be very careful. Why? Let's look at this this incident that happened on January 23rd, 2020 in Mumbai. Youth held for rape assault of 16-year-old he befriended on Facebook. A Vasai youth was arrested on Tuesday for allegedly raping, assaulting, and stalking a 16-year-old girl he befriended on Facebook in July 2019. The minor girl told the Manipur police that she met the 22-year-old man on Facebook. They began to chat, and a few weeks they met in Vasai. She said the accused took her to home in Vasai, where he gave her drinks that were laced with sedatives. He then sexually assaulted her. Not just that, the girl further said that the accused then began to take her to the lodges in Vasai, forced laced drinks on her, and sexually assaulted her. Then there's the, a lot of such cases are happening. So when you receive such requests, when you receive such proposals, it could be over Instagram, it could be over Tinder, or it could be other over any other platforms, online dating platforms that are there. You have to be very careful. You have to be very careful, especially when you're chatting. Okay. Again, they're also making friends. You have to think before you make friend with anyone. Even if you make friend also, you have to be careful when you're chatting. Now chatting, what's wrong with chatting? There's nothing wrong in chatting, but the new chatting that has come up, or the upgraded version that goes after chatting is something called as sexting. Okay. And that's where all the youths are trapped in. All right, all the females and males, they are trapped in this thing that is sexting. It has become very easy for anyone to have a video call and have a conversation. So sexting has become very common. So be very careful. Never ever have this kind of conversation. Even sending an I love you to your friend or your girlfriend or boyfriend can cause a serious issue. And this has happened. I received a case where a girl had sent I love you to a boy, and there was some conversation. She broke up with him, and then that guy started blackmailing this girl. Okay, just with the messages, nothing else. So be very careful. Apart from that, never share your image, photos of your personal parts, or your private parts with anyone. This has become very much common nowadays. Thinking that the other person is actually a girl or actually a boy, you start having sexual conversations, and you do what the other person says to do. I would like to share one incident here. One of my friend who had been into this. He thought that the person with whom he was chatting on Instagram was actually a girl, but the girl asked him to have a video call and asked him to take off his clothes and all. He did it. At the end, the and later on, the girl started to, it was not a girl, actually it was a boy who started to blackmail him, was asking him for 10 lakh rupees. Okay. So a lot of things happened after that, and it has become very common. So be very careful. Never share your personal or private photos of your private part or private body to anyone. It could be your 15 years boyfriend. He might be your husband. No problem, don't send it. It's for your safety. Remember, whatever you're sending it, it is not going directly to that guy. It is going through the internet. And internet, we also know it as World Wide Web. www, World Wide Web. So the entire world can have your image, entire world can have your message that you're sending. So be very careful, it might not come back to you. The next very important thing is, do not capture your personal movements. Smartphone is not the place where you do this. Again, this has become very common. Enjoy your personal movements, never ever record it. There have been lot of incidents with respect to this particular act that we people do. So never record your personal movement, and if at all you have done it, then I would request you to delete it 3-4 times, like format your data. Okay. Before you give your phone to a person for a repair or something, delete everything and give it. Okay. Moreover, I would it is recommended that if you need to repair your phone, then you have to give it to the authorized service center only. Don't give it to the local vendors and all. Give it to the authorized mobile company, not to the local person. And before you give, make sure that you are deleted your data. Delete it 3-4 times, like format it 3-4 times. Even when you're selling your old phone, delete it. Deleting means not just once. You have to format, copy some junk files, format, copy some junk files, format. This way it will be impossible to recover it back. If you just format it once, then it is very easy to recover the data from the which you have deleted. Okay. So the women and men also are here. If one thing is about the smartphone, which I said. Second thing is, when you're going to do the recharge and all, don't go to the local shops and all. Go to the shop which you know, whom you know. Okay, don't just randomly walk in, because there are many incidents that has happened where those people have shared your number with others, and then you keep getting random calls and messages and all. So be very careful with this. When you are on the social media, the first thing which you have to do is, when you get the friend request, you get a lot of friend requests on Instagram, Facebook, and other platforms which are there. Make sure you even the message request also. So before you accept it, make sure you verify, before you confirm or delete, make sure you verify who the person is. Check for the mutual friends, check for the photos of the user. If at all he is your friend, then only confirm it, or else don't confirm the friend request, don't accept the follow request, don't accept the message request. Because, let us, you know uh, park this thing aside. Now I would like to, if I ask you a question, you are in a park, okay, or you are in a garden, or you are in a public place. A random person comes to you and says, hey, I want to be your friend. Would you accept him? would you would you even look at his face? I don't think so, right? The same thing you should be following in, while you're on the Facebook, while you're on the internet. What you do in the real time, you have to do that. Because the technology, it looks very beautiful for us, it looks something fascinating for us, and we forget that the technology is not safe, internet is not safe. So verify before making friends with anyone, even if it is strangers also. I'm not saying don't make friends with strangers. All that I'm saying is, be careful when you are making friends, because there are more number of fake profiles than the real ones. I'll tell you this. A man in Bangalore, last to last year, was held because he was having some thousands of accounts in his name on girls and boys, profiles he had, fake profiles he had. Because Facebook, Instagram, and all these people, they don't ask for Aadhaar card, PAN card, and all. They don't verify. You just need a phone number or an email ID. I can have 10,000 email IDs, I can create 10,000 email IDs, not a big deal. So coming to this incident that happened of a Bangalore guy, so he was sending requests from males profile to females and females profile to males, and he was chatting. It's very simple. Sit, have a mobile phone or have a laptop, keep chatting. It was his regular duty, and he used to have this sexting thing or sexual conversations with the girls and with the guys. So once he had it, then he used to blackmail the person, or ask for the money and so on, so other things. So he was later on caught, and then, as I said, police confiscated his laptop and mobile, and there were some thousand profiles which he had created, and he had revealed it. So be very careful. There are more number of fake profiles than the real ones. Be aware of what you post and what you share. Very important nowadays, because we keep getting lot of news and a lot of updates. So don't share, post, or forward any contents blindly on the social media platform, especially on the WhatsApp. India is now facing a very big problem of this fake messages and fake forwards. Okay, the only way how we can stop it is awareness and teaching others. So this one interaction what I'm having with you from now onwards: if you receive any forward message, or before you are forwarding any message which has been forwarded to you, make sure that you know whether it is genuine or not. It could be about a religion, political party, community, about anything. It could be anything. Okay, we get lot of news and updates, especially in your family WhatsApp groups that are there. Your uncle, aunt, chacha, chachi, and all these people, they send these things in the groups. So you have to be responsible. They don't know about it. You have to in return ask them, hello uncle, is this news verified? And then if he says no, I just forwarded it, tell him don't forward it. Okay, because anyone can go to the police station, file a complaint on him. Okay, it's a crime to forward fake messages also. You can be sent to the jail for forwarding a fake message, or a message that is not genuine. And it keeps on happening. Recently in the Bangalore, the attack which happened, as we saw, the police station fire and all that happened. So there again, a lot of people were caught, who had shared the contents on Facebook, and also, so police are tracking everything. Okay, so before sharing anything, before forwarding anything on WhatsApp, make sure you know its genuinity. Even sharing anything on the social media like Instagram and Facebook also, be very careful, verify it with others. It could be your own video, it could be your own contents or something which you're uploading, because there are memes that get created and it will affect you mentally. They'll be defaming you, okay, they'll be insulting you, so you have to be very careful. And yes, if you are, if you feel something like that, then there is a section, as I said, which we'll be discussing in the next slide. So the next thing is control your privacy. We'll speak more about data privacy in the next slide. So here, if you're using Instagram and Facebook, go to the settings. There is this option called as privacy, where you can change a few things here. I would like to highlight only one thing. The last part one here, if you see, do you want search engines outside of Facebook to link to your profile? Which means that if this is enabled, if I go to Google and type your name, then Google will show me your photo, your name, and everything. Okay, now this is not, something which might not be the right thing for all, so we have to disable this. Okay, or else it becomes easy for anyone to find you and track you, send you a request. They can download your photo, do a lot of things. So control your privacy from the settings, privacy option. Second very important thing is, in the Instagram, make your account private, especially the females out here. Please make sure that you make your account private. Go to the setting, account privacy, turn on this. If you don't do this, then your account will be public, which means if I'm not your friend, then I can see your photos, I can download your photos. I mean, downloading photos is not there directly, but yeah, I can take a screenshot. But there are tools by which, there are mechanism by which we can also download your photos and everything. So make your account private, or else anyone will download it. He could be your friend only, some maybe a boy to whom who proposed you and you rejected him. It might be him. Okay, or he might be your ex-boyfriend or anything. He might be someone who had a crush on you and you got into relationship with others, and he might start doing these things with you, where he'll download your photo, edit your face. There are freely available softwares available in Android and iOS, where you can do this. Take a nude photo, attach your photo, and then start publish it online, or they can start you sending it to you back and blackmailing you. So this is also called as identity theft. Okay, so to be safe from this, turn on your privacy option and make your account private. The next thing is enable two-factor authentication. For all of you here, if you haven't done it, please do it. All this Facebook, Instagram, Google, and almost every major accounts or companies that are there, they have this option of two-factor authentication, where an OTP will be sent to your mobile number when you have to log in. Apart from the password, because passwords are not safe. Password is your name, your date of birth, or your pet name. This is what the password is generally of our people, of a normal user. So we need an additional security. Okay, additional security is this password, OTP. So you will receive a message with an OTP with a number, one time password, it is called as. A number will be sent to you. You have to enter that number, then only you will be able to log in. Okay, so it's very important that you enable this feature. Otherwise, if I know your password, or even I can guess your password, and I can log into your account, and you will not come to know. Okay, it's like in some of the houses you might have seen, there would be a wooden door, and then there would be another door of iron. You might have seen this, right? There are two doors that will be there. It's an additional layer of security. The same way we have to follow this by enabling two-factor authentication from the settings. So remember this: think before you post, think before you share, think before you connect, and think before you chat, because everything you do online is being stored, tracked, monitored, and sold. I'll come to that sold part. Now let's look at this monitored part. Monitored, who monitors? The police department monitors this. Now let's have a look at the from the law side about this crimes and all. So we have in India a law for this thing, what we call as IT Act 2000, or Information Technology Act 2000. It came up in the year 2000. That's why it is Information Technology Act 2000. So this particular law defines lot of sections for the cyber crime related things. So let's take a look at it. Section 66 says hacking with computer system is a crime if a person with the intent. So I'll explain this in simple terms. Even if you delete files, or you delete anything from other system or phone or your college phone or something, it is called as hacking. I'll tell you a case scenario. A principal had recorded some a video of his students who were have boozing and smoking in the campus. The student got to know that he had captured it, and they planned for something. So somehow they could get the phone of the principal by getting into the principal chamber, and one of they actually thought of stealing it, but one of the guy over there was a smart technical guy. So what he did was it was an Android phone, so Android phone is easy to delete and erase and format. So this guy, he went out, with some basic options that we had there, without unlocking the phone you can do it in Android. So he completely formatted the phone and they went off. But they were not knowing that there was a person who was watching them, that is Bigg Boss CCTV camera, and they were caught, and section 66 was imposed on them. So imprisonment is 3 years and 5 lakhs of fine with section 66. Always remember. The next section is section 66E, violation of privacy. Intentionally or knowingly captures, publishes, or transmits the image of a private area of any person without his or her consent is a crime. 3 years of jail and 1 lakh of fine. That's this is as per the IT Act. Apart from IT Act, we also have the IPC, Indian Penal Code, from which the sections will be implied. And from IPC, the sections and the crimes, the imprisonment is more. Okay, so so don't capture. If you see anyone is capturing anyone's photo nowadays, since the lockdown has happened, and these type of crimes have become very common. But yeah, if you see something like this happening, you have to report it. And if you are doing something like this, remember, it is a crime. The next one is publishing information which is obscene in electronic form. Information which is obscene in electronic form could be sharing of porn movies. Okay, could be, especially when you're talking about porn movies, it's about child pornography. Never share videos of child pornography or child pornographic contents. It's a serious crime, and you shouldn't be taking videos also of something of such acts. If you see through your neighbors or anyone, you cannot do that because it's a crime. Okay, so here you can see causes to be published in the electronic form. It's a crime. 5 years of jail and 10 lakh of fine for this. Okay, obscene, not required that it should be a image or a photo which will have a sexual sexual act kind of thing. Not required. Even if it is image where you have done some changes, like this thing of converting a man's face and to making him a woman, or women to a man by inserting a mustache kind of thing. So this also comes under this obscene one, which is that I said as cyberbullying. A lot of cases has happened in schools and colleges where students have done this for their teachers and principals, and they were sharing it further. 5 years of jail and 10 lakh of fine. Remember, I have personally seen a lot of cases where students have been actually imprisoned. Imprisonment is very less has happened because they forgive them, but yeah, cases have been filed and actions have been taken. As you can see here, UP man booked for posting inflammatory message on Facebook. A man on Wednesday was booked for posting an allegedly a message on Facebook page. So as you can see here, man under section 505 of IPC, section 67, and yeah, those two things. So inflammatory message means messages which contain abusive words and all. Then we have the next session, section 67A, publishing images containing sexual acts. 7 years of jail and 10 lakhs of fine. Sexual acts, not required that you record it and send some to someone. It could be even a porn movie or a porn clip. So I'll tell you one incident. There was a WhatsApp group of high school students of 10th standard. They had a WhatsApp group, and one person in that WhatsApp group had shared some pornographic content, images, and videos in the group. one of the kid's parent saw that such contents are being received, and she directly went to the police station and filed a complaint. And you know who was caught here? Who was the person to whom the police intervened and first took action? It was the group admin. Okay, so group admins have a very high responsibility. Please take care of your group. If you know, it could be for fun purpose also, and a lot of thing has happened for fun purpose. We share something, and there might be someone who doesn't like us, or he doesn't, you know, he wants to take some revenge or something, so they purposely forward it and, you know, take it further. And this lot of things have happened like this. So as an admin, I was telling, admins have to be very careful. One small tip I would like to give you, a free tip. If you want to be safe, make everyone as admin, so if anything happens, everyone will be caught, not just you. So just for fun sake, but yeah, you can follow it if you want. So be careful while you are on the, you know, you are sharing the pornographic contents and all. Man held for posting child porn on Facebook. As I said, child pornography is a very serious issue. Arrested a 35-year man on Wednesday for posting child pornographic content on Facebook. So not required that you have to capture and you have to post it. You can post any such video. It's a serious crime. So that's about the IT Act, and that's about the social media thing. Next, let's move on to the next very important topic. So social media. So do you think, is it really free? If you think, do you think the social media that you're getting, is it free? If you think that you're paying for the internet, you're doing the recharge and all, and that's where the money they get money from, no, that's not wrong. I'll tell you from where they make money and how they make money and why it is required for us to know. Let's take a look at it. So these Facebook, social media thing, YouTube and all, they make money by advertisement, by the information that you provide, and by the activity that you perform. Okay, so they do the advertisement. Facebook will sell your data, and you know, I like, for example, I want to make a advertise a particular post, especially for the students. So I go to the Facebook ad thing, I pay Facebook 2,000 rupees, and Facebook will show you ads. So you might be seeing in Instagram, you can see sponsored post. The sponsored posts are basically the one which someone has paid Instagram, and Instagram is showing to you. Okay, so so when we select this thing to market on Facebook, we have the option to select as per the age, as per the interest, as per the phone that they are using, Android phone or iOS phone, as per the browser type, as per the Android version type, as per the gaming interest. Lot of things there are, you know, somewhere around 40 to 50 things we can choose, and we can target accordingly the audience. So you know, information that you provide and activity that you perform. Earlier in the beginning, we discussed about two things. One is cyber warfare, and the other one is cyber crime. So we saw about the cyber crime and how it happens and all. We saw about the cyber warfare. The next thing which I would like to which you should be knowing is something called as cyber attack. Now what's a cyber attack? Cyber attack is where companies and organizations are facing it. We also are facing attacks, but you know, we consider it as a cyber crime here. But let's now take a look at cyber attack. So this company called Yahoo, if you remember, Yahoo has almost lost its business because it had a cyber attack. 500 million accounts were stolen. It happened in 2014. There is LinkedIn, which got hacked in 2012, and 6.5 million user accounts were stolen by the Russian criminals. There is an Aadhaar system, UIDAI, which was hacked in 2018. And here, if you see, anonymous sellers were selling other information of any person for rupees 500. It was being sold for 500 on the online. And if you want a printout, you had to pay an extra amount of 300. For 600, 700, 800 rupees, you would get someone's Aadhaar card. That's one of the reason why we are seeing there is raising these frauds and all. One can create the you know, get SIM card and do anything with this type of thing. So Aadhaar card was hacked. Then we know Adobe was hacked, and 3 million customers data, bank data, was stolen. Then we have something called as eBay that has been hacked. So lot of these companies which we use have been hacked, and they have been attacked by the cyber criminals. So the next question which I would like to ask is, have you been hacked too? If I ask this question, have you been hacked too? The answer would not be, might be yes, might not be no, might be confusing. If you want to check if you have been hacked or not, there is this website called as haveibeenpawned.com. I would like to just show this website to you. Let me open my browser. Okay, haveibeenpawned.com is the website where you can check. Here, the moment you open this website, you would be getting an option where you have to enter your email ID. I'll enter one of my email ID, robsouz19@gmail.com. This is the website, sorry, email ID which I would like to enter here, and I click on the pond option. Okay, and then it will tell us pond on 11 breach site. Now let's see what exactly this is. So I scroll down and I see that Canva, if you might be knowing Canva, in 2019 Canva was hacked, and email ID, location, names, password, usernames were stolen by the hackers. So I had registered in Canva, my data, all my email ID, my location, my everything was on Canvas, company server, and it was hacked. Then I'll just look at the common ones. Dubsmash was hacked in 2018. Email ID, location, name, password, phone number, spoken language, usernames were stolen. Then we have Gaadi.com. Then Zomato was hacked in 2017. Zoomcar was hacked in 2018. So if if any of the companies where you have registered, if they have been faced a cyber attack, then you will come to know here. Okay, so don't worry if you have been if your email ID has been breached, because nothing can be done. Okay, from now onwards, be very careful. First thing is change your password if you have faced this. Otherwise, yeah, you can ignore. Okay, so what is this all about? Basically, what happens is, what do? We registered on various websites. We connect to the internet and we register on various websites like Facebook, Instagram, Naukri, Tinder, and so on. Lot of the applications we register, we enter our name, other number, lot of our information we add there, right? So all this information that is there, it gets stored on something what we call as a database or a database server. Now this database is connected to the internet, which means anyone can access this database, like how you can do. Like the same way, there could be an hacker or an attacker who is connected to the internet, and you connect to the database, and they can hack it. How do they hack? I told in the beginning of word, there are two words: loopholes or vulnerabilities. So vulnerability is what makes helps a hacker to hack into the servers. So the servers have vulnerabilities, they have loopholes. What are the loopholes? Those are the technical part. Let's not get into it. As simple, if I have to explain, what will happen if you don't put a lock to your house before you leave anywhere outside? You need to put a lock, right? So the lock is basically, if you don't have a lock, then it is a vulnerability, it's a loophole. Okay, the same way, servers needs to be configured securely. So it is the responsibility of Facebook, Instagram, Naukri, Tinder, and other applications that we use to have a good security. It is their responsibility, but they don't do it. Maybe because they don't know it, maybe because they don't want to do it, maybe because they don't want to invest on it, because they have to invest some money. Like to have a lock, you need to purchase it. A strong lock will be around 500 to 1000 rupees, right? So the same way, they also need to invest on it, and a lot of things needs to be done. So they don't do it, and then we people face it. And you can check it from the haveibeenpawned.com website. Okay, so what will happen here? Data will be stolen. So talking about data, and remember it, our data that is there, it is very much valuable. Data can be sold, and if I have your name, email ID, mobile number, phone number, your qualification, your interest, and if I sell it to someone, I can I can get maybe somewhere around 30 to 50 rupees. Along with this, if I have your account number, your IFSC code, your debit card number, or your mobile, other banking information, then the money that I would get is somewhere from around 200 to 500 rupees for one person. That's how it is sold. Where is it sold? It's sold somewhere what we call as dark web. Okay, dark web is like the chor bazaar thing that we have in Mumbai and other places, where all the illegal things have illegal, I would not say, stolen things are sold there. So the same thing happens in the dark web, okay, which normal users don't have access to, and there these things are sold. I had known a person, from a place who was, he's actually doing this work of selling data from last 5 years. What he does is he goes to the colleges where there are events happening. He asks the students to fill some forms. He takes the data and he sells it to the training institutions. Okay, if he is from final year BCom, then he'll go to masters, a college which is providing master degree, and he will sell the data. Per data of a student will be was from like 1 rupee to 4 rupees. That's the charges he used to get for one data. Okay, so this is his regular business, I would say. So data is valuable, and data privacy is a concern which has been raised a lot, and we have to be very careful on this part. What is data privacy? Data privacy means protecting our personal data. Okay, so our data is being sold, as I said, our data is being sold for business, for money. Okay, and they say it is to make our life easier. Okay, like if you watch the Facebook Mark Zuckerberg video, he says that we do this so that it becomes easy for you. Okay, so that like for example, if you go to Google and search for iPhone 11, and next if you go to Flipkart, you can see the advertisement of iPhone 11. So they said it is to make your life easier. But my concern here is it can make one's life worse if our data goes to a wrong person. Okay, so we have to protect it. Some of the tips to protect your data privacy: use multiple email IDs. One email ID for your banking, one email ID for your social media, one email ID for your other, if you are a researcher and all, you have to register and subscribe, and also use it over there, which you will never, don't mix up. Okay, have multiple email IDs. Don't give your data blindly to anyone, especially when you're at a mall or somewhere where they ask for your data. Don't give your data blindly. Have multiple names, like I use one name for my Swiggy, I have one name for my Zomato, one name for Ola, like that, So try to use multiple names, so that what's happening is in the background, they are making a profile of us, like Robin D'Souza. This is his mail ID, this is his number, this is his qualification, this is his interest, and so on. So if I have multiple names, the technology will get fooled. Okay, so just a small thing, not major impact, but yeah, it will help somewhere. Never upload photos with ID card, and don't share a good close-up photo of your face or hand. That is very much important, because if you do it, then your retina and your fingerprint can be taken, and it can be used, because our fingerprints are used for Aadhaar card verification and all. So don't share a close-up photo of your face or your hand or your ID card. Keep a personal and a public number, very important. The next thing is, like, while you're registering on any of the sites, like for example shiksha.com, okay, where you have to enter your first name and last name. Like first name, as my first name is Robin D'Souza, I'll put the same thing. The last name, put it as the name of the website. Like this is shiksha.com, so I'll put last name as Shiksha. So what will happen is, these companies like Shiksha and all, OLX and all, they sell our data to others, and when they sell, they will be sending us emails, and they'll be using it for their marketing purpose, right? So when you receive an email or a message or something, you would be receiving it as, hello Robin D'Souza Shiksha. So you come to know that, okay, this burger Shiksha people have sold it. I mean, like, nothing can be done, but yeah, you will come to know who has done and all. So the next topic, very important, what I would like to share here is something called as social engineering. Social engineering means art of human hacking. Okay, art of human hacking is called as social engineering. Remember this thing, it's a fun fact, I would say. It is 95% of the time that the human brain is hacked and not the technology. 95% of the time it is the human brain that is hacked and not the technology. So that's called as social engineering, where I'm hacking your brain and not the technology. So there's this concept called as phishing. It's type of social engineering attack. See here, you can see this is an attacker. He is asking for your login and password. You are entering it because you are just looking at the screen and you don't know that at the back end there's this person. So be very careful. A small tip, especially when you have received an email, don't believe the, don't trust any emails that you receive. So for example, you have to verify every email ID. So don't look at the name, don't look at the subject. What you need to check is, if you click on this icon here, you will get the entire email ID from which you have received. So if it is from Swiggy, it will be something at the rate swiggy.in, because swiggy.in is actually their website. Okay, if it is Amazon, it will be amazon.in, because amazon.in is a website. If you have received a mail from RBI, it would be rbi.co.in, because that is their website. So look at this while you work on the emails, so verify the emails. Next thing is something called as smishing. Smishing is a type of attack where you are being hacked from with the use of messages. That's called as smishing. So when it comes to the smishing, you might receive this shortened URLs. Never click on these shortened URLs like bitly.co.jn or whatever you receive. Never click. You might receive a message saying you are that from KFC, from bank or something. It's very easy for me to send you a message in the name of Flipkart, Amazon, KFC or anything. There are methods by which we can do it and hackers can do it. So never trust on these links. These links can have a malware. These links can have a virus which will hack your phone. If you want to verify this, copy it and then post it on Google, and Google will tell you exactly what it is. Go to Google search and post it, and Google will show you what it is. Then only you go forward. Otherwise, don't click on this link. The third type of attack, what we call as wishing attack. Wishing attack is where the fraudsters call someone trying to be an official, maybe from bank or any company, and they loot others money. Okay, especially with the elders. If there are any elders in your family, go right after this session, tell them that if you get a call from a bank or anyone, do not share your OTP, do not share your card details or account number, because they are fraudsters. It is with the elders and it will see the poor people where these fraudsters are calling and they are taking their money. So please take this responsibility of informing others. Okay, so that's about social engineering. Please be very smart when you are working on these things. When you receive an email, don't take it as a toy. Don't consider your smartphone as a toy. It's actually very dangerous. Okay, the next thing is on the smartphones that you use. Do not download applications or games from unknown sources just because it is free. One of the biggest mistake that we all do, we download applications and games from various sources. Remember, there are only two places. One is Google Play for Android and App Store for Apple. These are the only two places from which you have to download games and applications. If you have done it, uninstall it immediately. Secondly, do not download these applications like what is that, RAM cleaner, memory cleaner and all that, nonsense things. Don't do it. It's of no use. Antivirus, do not go for an antivirus which is for free. A free antivirus will do no work for you. Okay, so coming to the earlier one which I said about India government banning Chinese applications, it is because as we saw in the earlier thing that all the data will be in the database. So what they'll do is they'll basically use it further. Okay, just like the medical warfare that they did is what is assumed, right? This COVID, it said that it is done by Chinese government for purpose kind of thing. So they have made a war kind of thing over the medical. This is a medical platform. So if they have to do it over cyber platform, it will be again because they have all of our data and they can start attacking and hitting the Indian people and Indian infrastructure. So download applications and have only those applications which are required for you. Don't download and keep all the unwanted applications. Okay, that's a very important thing. Keep your always update your applications and your mobile phone softwares and games and all. Is very important. Keep it in auto update mode. Check it, verify it every time. Now you can check later on if it is up, all your softwares and games that are there in your phone are up to date or not. Please keep it up to date and keep auto update. Even the Android operating system also, version also, please keep it updated. It's very important, or else it becomes easy for the hackers to hack into you, because these versions of older versions will have loophole, will have a vulnerability. That is why the company will release a new one where it will patch it and it will send. And if you are having the older one, then it becomes easy for the hackers to hack you. The next thing is enable screen lock. Talking about the enable screen lock, I know definitely all of the youths who are here have enabled this. Some of you might have 2, 3, 4, 5 screen locks as well. My concern is here, especially if you're using the pattern screen lock, especially for the elders in your family and who are there, please ask them, please see if their phone smartphone is having around they have enabled screen lock or not. Secondly, if they have this pattern screen lock, don't keep, even if it for you also. First of all, it's not recommended to use the pattern screen lock. If you use also, use something which is not common, like L, M, N, U, tick mark, ulta L, ulta M, ulta U, and this kind of S. Now these kind of things are very common. Don't use these patterns. If you have this, please change it, because anyone can take it and guess it, and they can enable access the screen lock. Okay, so very important thing to be done and to be shared with others also. Next is about the password part. Remember about the password. Passwords should be strong. When I say strong passwords, it should be something unique. Okay, strong password does not mean to be long, it should be unique. Don't use one password in all your Facebook, Gmail and all that. Don't use one password, have some changes there. Never give your password to anyone. Keep changing your password, and once you change, there will be an option to sign out from all the devices. Choose that option. That's about the password security. Never pay to an individual's account number which has your name, has account name. Like for example, I'm from this company called Cyber Sapiens. I have a company current account with the name Cyber Sapiens. So if you are purchasing something on the online, if you're buying something on the online or something, and if you're transferring money to someone for buying something, make sure that you are doing it to the current account name or the company's account name. Okay, it's very important, because if you don't do it, if you do it to a personal account, then you cannot get it back. Okay, it becomes very impossible. Second thing is, always go for cash on delivery while you are doing the online online shopping and all. Don't go for online payment mode, always go for cash on delivery. It could be anything, it could be anything, it could be Flipkart, Amazon or anything. Always it is preferred to go for cash on delivery itself, especially when you're doing the online shopping. Verify the websites which are doing. And remember, never pay anyone. He might say anything, the company might be anything. Even if you don't get the product also, it's fine. Don't go for cash on online payment, because once you do it, you might not get it back at all. You have to again fight for it. You have to follow up on that thing, and lot of things needs to be done. So always go for cash on delivery. A few things to remember always. Think before you click. Anything that you click on the internet, on your mobile phone, it could be a malicious thing, it could be a malware or a virus. So think before you click. Be aware of what you share and what you post. Very important thing. Your online friend might not be an offline friend. Okay, so don't go for this online friendship and kind of thing. If you're going, also be very careful, because nowadays guys and girls are having multiple boyfriends and multiple phone numbers and multiple accounts. So it is very easy to handle over this single device. And this multiple relationships have become very common nowadays. It's very less that a person will have one girlfriend or one boyfriend. They'll have multiple thing, or like backup kind of thing. So be careful when you are into the online relationship, online dating and all. Don't trust the person blindly. Don't share your personal photos, private images and personal conversations with don't have conversations with them. Remember, internet never forgets anything. Okay, once it is gone to the internet, it's gone forever. You can't delete it back. You can delete it from your account, but it will be there in the server. So today you might not be, you might be just studying or you might be just working, but maybe after 5 years or 10 years you might become a celebrity, you might become a businessman, you might become a political party somewhere, you might get into that field. So you might have a good name for you in the outside society. So today what you're doing should not affect you, because that's what is happening. We are seeing a lot of cases where people are blackmailing others, which they happened in 5 years, 8 years back during the college time, a guy had, a girl had all this sexting thing which I said with a guy, and that girl has become a CEO of one of the popular company. And this guy, he had no money now. He does not have work or anything. So he somehow found this conversation and he started blackmailing this girl. This girl paid him also 5 lakh rupees, but still he was asking more. And then this girl, the CEO who I said, reported this to the cybercrime, and the person was caught. Similarly, we received a lot of such cases. So be very careful. Once it is gone to the internet, it's gone forever. Do not trust anyone or anything online is the last statement which I would like to say here. Do not trust anyone or anything online. Okay, never trust. It might look 500 rupees, but in return it might be 1,000 rupees. Okay, something, he might look a guy, but he might be actually a girl. He might look a girl, but he might actually be a boy. So never trust anything or anyone online. And the last thing which I would like to tell upon here is report. If you face anything, report. You have to speak. If you don't speak, if you don't report, then you will be in the loss. It will be a problem for you, okay, and for others as well. So speak up to the counselors. You can speak up to your elders in the family, maybe your teachers, principals, or you can walk to the police station as well, and you can report it. In the police station, when you go, there is one anonymity option where you can tell the police not to reveal your details. So the police will not reveal your details, and they'll take action on the accuser. So taking actions or not is not important, but yeah, reporting is very important, especially if you have lost your mobile phone. If you have someone has stolen your mobile phone, no matter even if you get it back or not, but it is your responsibility to report it. If you lose your Aadhaar card, if you lose your original Aadhaar card, you have to report it, because if someone might get your phone and they might do some illegal activity, and police will catch you. Okay, your Aadhaar card, if you have lost, someone might use it for illegal purpose, and then police will come and catch you. So you will have a statement with you that you have filed a complaint, and yes, I lost my phone and I had lost my Aadhaar card or something like that. It doesn't matter if you get it back or not, that's not the concern, but it's for your safety. You have to file a complaint and you have to report.